You know, we're in a new release cycle, right? So lots of games are coming out. Guilty Gear and KOF and Melty Blood, they're long legacy games that have been around for a long time. With everybody getting hype about, you know, these games coming out, I wanted to give you guys an important PSA because this topic came up when I made a video about mashing recently. This comes up with old games all the time with different series rebooting and stuff like that. I've been telling you guys, hey, you should go try these old fighting games. You might like them. They're really good. They're really fun. I want you to also know that these old games fucking suck, okay? You read some weird shit about old games. These are real comments I got in my video about mashing. The amount of comments that are like, oh yeah, mashing is only good in modern games. You can't mash successfully in older games, or you can't do this successfully in older games, or older games forced you to have good footsies and ground games, and they didn't have all these fucked up things of new scrubby easy baby games that just accept. This is all bullshit. These old people are really adamant that the new games are all way worse and that the old games were just better, beautiful titles, just pristine. Put them on a pedestal, right? They're the greatest things of all time. When I came into fighting games, you know, old people said these things to me, and I didn't know any better. I was like, okay, they're really hype about these old games. These old games must be really good. Then, you know, the game I played became the old game, and a new game came out. And when that new game came out, everybody said the same things about the game that just went away. My game that everybody said was dog shit, that was the bad new game, became the old game. And they said, back in that game, this wouldn't have worked. You wouldn't see me in that game. Mashing doesn't work in that game. Everybody's scrubby now. Everything's easy now. Back in that game we just played, that used to be the scrubby game, everything was just honest, way better, etc. You guys saw this with Street Fighter 4. If you're a Street Fighter 4 player, you remember people talking shit about Street Fighter 4 constantly. The setups were dumb. It was a baby game. It was too easy. It was etc, 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 constant, right? Street Fighter 5 comes out, everybody's like, Street Fighter 4 was the pinnacle of fighting games. It was the greatest fighting game of all time. So technical, it was so beautiful, it was so difficult, like it just, you know, you see it. And you're seeing the same thing about Guilty Gear, you're gonna see the same thing about KOF, you're gonna see the same thing about Melty Blood. These old folks are fucking liars. And the people who say this, there's only in two categories, I think. One, they're young people who didn't play those old games, who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Or two, they're senile old people and you can't listen to them anyway. I want to show you guys a video. This is an interview with Damned Eye. Incredible ST player. Very good at Street Fighter 4, by the way. He's really good at modern Street Fighters as well.
And because of the difference of the logistics, is that primarily why you remain focused exclusively on ST and why you have, I guess, chosen not to play like AE and Cross Tekken, or do you still regularly compete in those games from time to time?
I was competing in those. It's just steadily declined. It's just because I just don't enjoy it. You know, I liked that a lot of people played it, and I liked all the competition, but I can never find like a comfort zone. Like in ST, I feel in control always, and I love that. I never feel helpless. I don't have to deal with some like Ibuki mix-ups or Seth mix-ups where it doesn't matter how much I practice, I'm always going to be susceptible to that.
Yeah, you know, that's why he doesn't like it. He doesn't want to get knocked down, put in some bad situation where he can't get out, you know. These knockdown setups in Street Fighter 4 are just bullshit, right? It's nice to play old games where you don't have to worry about that. Right, that's one of the big benefits for them. For young Solari.
It doesn't drain unless he grabs you.
Right.
So there's no way to waste that super.
Yeah, and if he whiffs, then yeah, he's inputting super every single time now. It's just an option select. Can he keep going on this? Can he keep going on this? Will Damned Eye finally get his reversal or not? It looks like probably not. He doesn't do it.
God.
Damned Eye is so frustrated with himself because he had all those opportunities to get the reversal out, and he just couldn't get it.
You know, people will tell you these things, and until you're older and you've experienced a generation of fighting games, I don't think you always know that these things aren't true. People are going to tell you these old games didn't have fucked up mix-ups. These old games were really honest footsie games, and you know, they didn't have this and that, and the damage wasn't like it is now. The damage is too high in these modern games. These old games are fucked up. These old games are dog shit in the same way that modern games are dog shit. It's very easy to find issues with the modern games. Everybody's playing them, everybody's talking about them. The old games also have issues. They just won't tell you about them. And I want to explain something important about this video. When he says, in ST, I feel like I'm always in control. I think that's true, actually. I don't think this video disproves that. What it shows is that Damned Eye loves ST, and he's played it for a billion years, and he understands the game incredibly well. So even though that situation looked fucked up, He knows how to get out of that situation. He tried. He just couldn't get out of it. In Street Fighter 4, maybe he doesn't know how to get out of all these setups, or he doesn't enjoy the type of setups in that game, or he doesn't like something about it. There's just something about the way that game ticks that's not for him. But it's not just because these old games don't have fucked up setups, it's because he knows how to get out of them. The important thing is you will find games where the bullshit, fucked up, dumb things in them really resonate with you. Either you enjoy them, or they bother you less for some reason, or you find getting around them fun, and those will be the games that you enjoy. Then there'll be old games or new games that have dumb bullshit that you don't even have a fucking time to deal with. You're like, fuck those games, fuck that bullshit, I'm not playing it. And that's perfectly fine, but don't let these old people lie to you. I read mashing is bad in old games. You can't mash to get out of situations. I was like, don't even make me go grab a bunch of clips of people mashing. Think about, actually, if you guys have ever seen Moment 37, Justin mashes on defense like 2 or 3 times in that clip. Daigo tries to pressure him and Justin mashes low jab against him like 3 times. Why? Because it's good. It's not like it started being good in Street Fighter 4. Like, it's always been good. I don't understand this weird logic. They just make shit up. They have these weird feelings about it. I like, there was actually a description on this. I think it was Mustard that tweeted it, that he quote tweeted me and said that what happens is that when people are new, they don't realize it. But once they hit that point in fighting games, right, where now they understand how the games work and how all this kind of stuff works, and they're like, oh, this game is fucked up. And they don't apply it backwards to the game they used to play. The way people talk about MKX recently, the way people talk about Injustice 2, the way people talk about MK9, they act like all these NRS games are so perfect and so incredible. They were so mad during Injustice. Like, everybody was like, this is the most boring game ever. I hate it. MKX, they were like, this game has no neutral. People sprint at each other and die. I hate MKX. It's too offensive. Everybody just explodes. Before Plus R came out, there was like a post, I remember this, about someone saying like, oh, now that you guys get to play Plus R, you can see what it's like to deal with like a game that doesn't have a dumbass character like Elfel or something. And I just remember being like, what the fuck are they talking about? That's when Zidane became the game killer. That's what I read the thread, and I thought it was hilarious because I was like, dude, you're arguing with the wrong kind of people. These are people that won't listen to basic reasoning. They don't care. They're just old game good, new game bad. That's like how considerate they are to the argument, right? Like, they don't care. Old games are so cool, and there's an old game that could be your favorite game
Sajam,
ever.
can you please explain when everyone talked about how SFE Beta was the greatest game?
They just remember it being really good because people keep saying it, and they're like, yeah, it must have been really good. It was bad too. It's the same thing with Guilty Gear though. They're gonna say stuff about the beta for Strive and how it was so fun and the full game this and that. It's just gonna be completely made up nonsense malarkey. You just have to be prepared. Just know that for the rest of our lives, when people talk about fighting games, they will make things up about past fighting games. Listen, cows, I wouldn't want to fight cows. They're weak in the legs, right? And as a wrestler, I've got a lot of advantages in that sense, but I'm not trying to go in there and do that. Kermit with 2 samurai swords and a blunt, that's an undefeatable force of nature. Hanzo Gonzo with 2 flaming samurai swords, I don't know, man. He claims he's incredibly powerful, so who knows? It's hard to say.